What if you could turn boring database tables into engaging whiteboard explainer videos automatically? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. For this demo, I'm working with a real-world energy sector dataset. North American energy companies, future pricing, over 30 columns of financial metrics, analyst ratings, production forecasts, the kind of data that would take hours to analyze and even longer to explain to someone else. Now, before we get into how this works, I want to show you what the end result looks like. So I'm going to play you a quick 30-second preview, but keep in mind, this is just a clip from a 4-minute video that was automatically generated from that complex energy data. Check this out.
Further, because not all energy returns are created equal. When we break down the methodology by production mix, a distinct split emerges. The data separates the companies into oil-heavy producers versus gas-focused ones. The oil-heavy segment, representing 55% of our sample, is significantly outperforming. They command startlingly higher free cash flow yields of 11.2% compared to just 7.1% for gas-focused firms. Furthermore, oil producers are trading at cheaper valuations, with a price-to-earnings multiples of 7.9 times versus 10.5 times for gas.
Pretty cool, right? That was a snippet from a 4-minute explainer video generated completely automatically from raw SQL data. No editing, no script writing, no recording, all automated. Here's the problem we're solving. How do you quickly unlock deep insights from complex data? Most people look at database tables and just see rows and columns. Finding the insights takes time and expertise. Communicating them to others is even harder. But what if you could go straight from raw data to a complete visual explainer video? That's the ultimate in easy. Data goes in, AI finds the insights, creates the narrative and visuals, and outputs a video anyone can understand. That's what we're building today. By the end of this tutorial, you'll know how to analyze data with AI agents, generate narrative scripts automatically, create whiteboard visuals, and assemble everything into a polished explainer video. Let's dive in.
All right, let's start by looking at the complete workflow. This is where we're going to build an NA10. Now, this may look complex at first, but I've broken it down into 4 clear phases. Let me walk you through each one. First, we have the data analysis phase. This is where our AI agent retrieves data from the database and analyzes it. It looks for trends, patterns, and interesting insights in your data. Second is the story generation phase. This takes the analytical report and converts it into a 5-part narrative. Think of it as turning dry statistics into engaging story that people actually want to hear. Third, we have visual generation. For each of these 5 narrative segments, we're going to create a whiteboard-style image that illustrates the key point. And we're using Google's brand new Gemini Nano Banana Pro model for this. It's incredibly powerful for creating these visual explainers. And finally, the visual assembly. This is where we combine all the visuals and audio into the final video file. Before we do a node-by-node walkthrough, let me show you the infrastructure set up with Hostinger, who I'm proud to be partnering with. I chose them because their platform is specifically suited for AI automation projects like this. Let me show you their KVM2 plan. This is exactly what I'm using. For the price, you get dedicated resources and full root access. But the real game changer, by self-hosting, you can run unlimited AI agents and unlimited executions. No monthly limits, no usage caps. What I love about this setup is the one-click NA10 installation with Q mode enabled. Plus, you get free weekly backups automatically. Setting this up is super straightforward. I'll just add the KVM2 plan into the cart, and here's the best part. I've got an exclusive discount for you. Just use Derek and the coupon code and get additional 10% savings on yearly plans. Here's how easy it is to access NA10 after purchase. We'll select the free malware scanner, create a root password, continue, finish setup. After a few moments, it's building your NA10 machine. Now your NA10 machine is ready. We're going to manage the VPS, go to the dashboard, and then select Manage App. And there you go, your NA10 instance is ready. All right, let's dive into each phase one by one. In the first phase of data analysis, we've loaded from this table in Supabase my energy table, and we've set the setting here to the table energy. We have 2 agents, a orchestrator agent and a data retrieval agent. This data retrieval agent will interface with my energy analysis table, and collect the data. So let's drill down into this AI agent. This AI agent has a system message of the data analysis agent being responsible for generating a comprehensive analytical reports from the data tables. So its objective is to analyze the input, which is from the energy table, and provide a detailed professional report of approximately 1,200 words that delivers thorough data analysis and actual insights. And it has available tools to it, a retrieval data tool, which calls into the data analysis retriever. So here it describes workflow. The data retrieval always begins by retrieving data. And then what it'll do is it'll first examine the data structure, so the columns, data types, row count, etc., and look for patterns. From there, it's going to generate a report with the structure and executive summary and data overview and methodology, as well as descriptive statistics and data profile, key findings and detailed analysis, and implications and recommendations and conclusion. And then there's additional writing guidelines here. Now, what this will do is it will take information from the energy table and it's going to call into the data retrieval agent. So this data retrieval agent will then have a tool that it connects to a SQL tool. Within this SQL tool, this credential here is connected to our Postgres database from SUPA, and it's going to have access to the energy table. Now, what I've done here is just connect it here, and in here, it will then generate the necessary SQL and provide the information back to the orchestrator agent. So this orchestrator agent will collaborate with the data retrieval agent to get all the insights necessary to produce this comprehensive report. Now, in the second phase is the story generation. So we've created an AI agent called Master Data Storyteller. The purpose of the Master Data Storyteller is it converts the report into a narrative. And the output of that is 5 segments, each with a audio narration script followed by a detailed whiteboard scene description. So let's dig into the Master Data Storyteller AI agent. So the persona here is a master data storyteller and a lead director for a high-density whiteboard animation studio. The goal of this is to convert the raw data and research into a 5-part JSON narrative that presents finding as one continuous analytical story that takes the visual descriptions and emphasizes charts, graphs, and data visualization. So the task for it is to do deep analysis, analyze the input data. So this is the report from the orchestrator agent, and extract every key statistic, percentage, trend, comparison, insight, and then break that down into 5 distinct analytical parts and generate for each of the parts a JSON that contains a text-to-speech transcript and as well as a visual prompt that describes what it is that we want Nano Banana to generate. And then the output is a JSON array. And you can look into here the details of the 5-part data structure. So we have additional parts here. And then we have some content guidelines that tell it how to make sure that it generates a smooth story. And there's some additional details on how to transition from part 1 to part 2 all the way to part 5. Now, that's what the AI agent does. And what we're going to do after that is take this information and break it out into 5 parts. So the split out. So this will take the output, which is the 5 parts, the visual prompt for each part, and then it will split out into 5 separate segments here that is then going to the next phase, which is the visual generation. In the third phase, we do the visual generation. So we start with the format prompt that prepares the visual prompt for Image API. So this prompt says, take this text and transform it into a professor whiteboard image with boxes, diagrams, arrows, and captions explaining the core ideas using color. and take a visual storytelling approach. And we pass into it the visual prompt from the previous node. Next, we're going to use Higgsfield. So Higgsfield is an API that allows us to get access to the Google Nano Banana Pro. So I'll have a link in the description. This Higgsfield will allow us to go into the JSON body here and pass into it a prompt to generate the image. We can specify the resolution, we can specify the aspect ratio, and we can also specify what output format. Then we wait for 75 seconds for all 5 of the generations to complete. And then we use the Higgsfield status here. This allows us to know when it is complete and get the URL. So this will give us the URL from the previous call so that we can know exactly when this finishes. And when it finishes, it's going to give us a link to the image that was generated here. So then after we complete all 5 generations, we merge to make sure that we've completed all the generation before we move to the next phase. In the final phase, which is the video assembly, what we do is we take the output from the merge node and we format that so that we can pass it into the generate video call. So what does the format final output look like? So each of the inputs for the 5 items will have a image URL. So this image URL corresponds to the Nano Banana Pro generated image for that segment, followed by a script that we will use and pass that into the video generation, which will do a AI text to speech on the script and then combine that together. So the final format will then be aggregated so that it becomes one item, one array that consists of 5 segments. From segment 0 has a image URL followed by a script. Segment 1 has the same structure all the way up to segment 4. Now we're then going to call into this generate video. So this generate video, I've deployed a API that I've built that takes a segment and allows you to generate the text to speech and combine the images together into video. So this takes simply a segment here, and then it will create this. I'll also create a link to this in Railway, which is my deployment platform, so that you can create one of these yourself. And then what we're going to do is then wait for the job. So this is something that I've also created in this service, that there's an API to wait for the job. And then I check whether or not the job is complete. If it's not complete, then I wait for 10 seconds. And then I repeat this loop until it's complete. And when it's complete, I just go ahead with another API that I've created for my service here and then download that. And then this download here is what I use to be able to save onto my local drive. All right, now let's run this through from beginning to end. So we will start the workflow, and it's going to start the orchestrator agent, and the orchestrator agent will call into the data retrieval agent that will give me the insights for the SQL database. Next, we're going to hit the master or data storyteller that will take the report from the orchestrator agent, and it's going to create the story for that and create 5 separate segments, each segment with a visual prompt for the whiteboard and a text to speech transcript. Next, we're going to generate the Higgsfield, or we're going to generate the Nano Banana Pro images, 5 of them, from the Higgsfield API. So we are executing all 5, and we're waiting 75 seconds to make sure that it completes, all of them completes on time before we go to the next one. Okay, now we're completing the generation of it. And now we're going to the video generation. So we're going to generate the video, and then we're going to pause and then iterate through this until the video is generated. Now the workflow is complete. I can download the video. I'll press download here, and it's downloading. And then I can start playing the video.
We have analyzed a massive data set covering the financial and operational heart.
All right, let's recap what we've built today. We created a fully automated data to video pipeline. We used N8N to orchestrate everything. We used AI agents to analyze data and generate narratives. We used image generation APIs to create visuals, and we assembled it all into a polished video. Now, if you want to use this workflow yourself, please join my AI automation engineering community with a 7-day free trial. And if you found this tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.